I've been in the dating and relationship advice field for 25 years now. Yes, I'm old. There's no doubt about it, and I'm not even trying to pretend otherwise. But with that experience comes a lot of wisdom and a lot of knowledge. So I'm quite proud of that. And in this particular instance, what I want to talk about is the issue of commitment. And one of the things that I think is really, it's actually a very common problem for women because that's one of the top issues that they write to me about on my relationship advice column. They're trying to figure out how to get a man to commit, how to keep a man, from straying from the commitment, how to get him back from the commitment. I mean, it's all about the security that women seem to need from men. And I'm not saying that that's wrong, trust me. What I want to talk about, though, is how to determine if the guy that you're spending time with is capable of giving you that kind of commitment, if he's even interested in it, and what commitment means to him so that you can understand. You may need to adjust some of your parameters to meet his if you really want this particular dude, or you just have to move on. But I'm gonna kind of guide you through this process so that you understand what you need to do. Because from my seat, a lot of women are just far too patient with me, and they give them too much slack. It's like, there's no reason in the world why I should ever see a woman talking about, I want to get married. I want to, have this kind of level of commitment from my man. We've been dating 6 years. We've been dating 4 years. We've been dating 11 years. And he hasn't proposed yet. Okay, what? What are you doing? Why are you wasting your time like that? I mean, don't you think if he was interested in that level of tie to you that it would have already happened? Because let me tell you a secret. I did a poll on my original website, askheartbeat.com, way back in the late 90s. And I asked men to share their thoughts on my theory, which was that when a guy will meet a woman, right, he will know within 90 days if he wants to marry her or not. Now I was being generous because let tell you this is a little side story. Every man who I met who was willing to talk about this subject told me that they knew within about 10 minutes that the woman that they met was going to be, their wife. They knew. It's like this gut level thing that they felt. And my own father had that feeling. My cousin's husband had it about his wife. Both of my grandfathers had it about my grandmothers. I mean, you know what I mean? It's like everything, it's like guys know. Now, they may not be ready to act on it. Let me put that clause in there. They may not be ready to, go marching down the aisle yet because they have some stuff they need to get in place. They may need to finish school. They may need to get a better job. They may want to put you up in a house instead of an apartment. I mean, he may have some goals for himself that involve that commitment that you're unaware of. But that doesn't mean that he doesn't know that you're the one. And if he knows, you will start to see evidence of it because he will start putting things in place and making his plan very obvious. It won't be a secret that you're going to be something very significant to this man. So I feel like, women who want to date a dude, 5 years, 6 years, 10 years, all this old stuff, you guys are tripping. You just wasting all your time and energy on a man who doesn't like you like that. He's not into you like that. And I don't understand why you're being so patient thinking that if you stick around, if you have enough kids, if you buy him enough stuff, if you do whatever for him, that he's going to change his mind. It doesn't work like that. People don't really need a reason to fall in love. I don't know if you've really paid attention to that, but you ask people, why did you fall in love with this person? Few people will be able to give you an answer. They can tell you things that they appreciate about that person. They can tell you things that they really like, adore, admire, respect, whatever. But why they fell in love, nobody knows that. that is some kind of secret, mystical, chemical, emotional, psychological, whatever. We don't really know. I mean, nobody can really say. It just kind of happens. And even if it's a person who you think on paper that things should work well with, it doesn't always happen that way. I mean, there's no chemistry, there's no heat, there's no real attraction, there's no interest. It's really hard to describe, but I think a lot of women need to understand, no matter what you do, you can't make a man fall in love with you. And the same goes for dudes. You like, how can I make her love me? This and that. I get a lot of letters like that too. They want to try to make a woman do something. And I'm like, you can't make nobody love you. Get the fuck out of here. The person either loves you or they don't. And it doesn't matter what you do. It doesn't matter what you look like. It doesn't matter what you wear. It doesn't matter how much money you make. None of that matters if the person really loves you. Now, what they will do, that'll give them, like I said, more things to admire, respect, brag about, whatever, the better accomplished person that you are. But that's not going to change the love that they have for you. It's either there or it's not. And it's just that simple. Now, I wanted to share, these women are like, well, he has to decide, I have to give him time. He needs to think about it. Well, he might, he might need a little time. But let me tell you something. My husband, okay, we met on a blind date in November. I don't remember the exact date, but it's sometime in November, okay? And then in early December, we went to my company office party. And, we kind of kept dating here and there. And then on, Memorial Day weekend, he proposed. So that was May, the end of May, right? We started dating in November. So people who think that you have to, that it takes all this time to know, it really doesn't. I mean, I've heard of cases where people met and got married a week later, a month later, and they've been married 50, 60 years until one of them dies. That's not it. The length of time that you spend with a person isn't really important, and that length of time passing is not going to change how they feel about you. Either it's there or it's not. And I keep driving this point home because I think a lot of women, y'all just don't get it. You think you have to do all this stuff. I had that whole series in August and September about women jumping through hoops. You think you have to do all this shit for a man to make him love you. You don't have to do nothing. Just be there. He's either going to love you or he's not. And I just have to keep saying this because there's a point where a man will commit to you because he can't imagine living another day without you in it. That's the kind of love that you want, where a guy is so enamored of you, he wants you by his side, in his face, in his bed, in his life, doing whatever with him. I mean, it could be something as simple as rubbing feet together while you watch TV. He's going to get a great big kick out of that because it's you. That's the kind of man that you want. You don't want a guy who you have to do all this shit for and constantly try to win his approval. Fuck that motherfucker. Just put him in the wind. That's too much goddamn work. How you gonna be doing all that shit for the rest of your life and bending over backwards and jumping through hoops for his ass? Oh no. No. You don't want to do that. So let's talk about, though, because the whole point of this is supposed to be talking about men who won't commit. I just want to give you a kind of a comparison for what men do when they do want to commit to you, okay? You probably can't get rid of them. They're in your face all the time, trying to do stuff for you, be around you. They want to help you. They want to make your life easier. They want to put a smile on your face. They want to see you happy. And he's going to do everything he can to make sure that happens that way. If that's not the kind of relationship that you have, you need to sit back and rethink that shit that you in, call it a relationship, because that's some bullshit. So let's talk about the men who you may be messing with. You think you're going to earn his love and win him over and get him to marry you or move in with you or whatever you're all trying to do. And you're struggling with it because he's not doing it. The main thing what you need to do is figure out how to avoid wasting that kind of time. Understand early on when a man is not willing, able, or interested in committing to you, and that's what I want to talk about. So let's go here. First of all, if you have a guy that comes on too strong, and I know a lot of women get real, and they get all, oh, he's so into me. He pays so much attention to me. He calls me all the time. He texts me. He just, this and that. That's a dude that has issues. And what I want, oh yeah, that's right. I wanted to talk about this too because there's two kinds of people who avoid commitment. There's what I call the passive avoider and the active avoider. Now, the active avoider are people who run away. They put up roadblocks, and I'll be talking about those in a minute. They put up boundaries, barriers, all kind of stuff so that you don't really have access to them on an intimate, emotionally or mentally intimate level. They may be sexually intimate, but you're not going to really know that person. They're not going to let you know what hurts them, what motivates them, their past history, that kind of stuff. They're going to keep you at arm's length emotionally they'll talk, they'll use a lot of words, but none of it is meaningful. Okay, that's the thing that you do. The conversation that you have with this man could be something he could talk to somebody about in a bar. That's about how meaningful and deep they are. They're not. So if you have a guy like that, he's keeping you back, but we'll get into that in a little bit more in a little bit. But the main thing is, these guys they come in real hard and they start talking about a future and they start blowing smoke up your ass and they drown you in attention and phone calls and they, try to hurry up and get a commitment going. They tell you they want you to be their woman like right off the bat before you even know his middle name and all that kind of stuff. These guys have to be slowed down because what they do is they want to get you, like in this romantic fog and your head in a tailspin because they want to get you involved and attached to them before you found out the truth because there's something that he's trying to hide and he has no intention of really committing to you because he's putting on a front and this romantic bum rush that he put you under. That's all designed to create this fantasy world where you think of a future with this man and you think it's really going to happen and he has no intention of doing it before he's going to spit off and jump on the next broad with the same dragon drama. And what always happens is, if you fall for the game and you allow yourself to get caught up in his bum rush speed relationship, you'll notice he starts calling you less and, he spends less time. And when you spend time with him, he doesn't seem to be that into it. He's kind of, draggy and unenthusiastic. The sex falls off and everything slows down and you're left wondering what the fuck is happening. And then the next thing you know, it's over. That's because you allowed him to control the speed of the relationship, and that's a typical move of a guy who has no intention of being there for a long period of time. He's just in for the romantic burst, and then he's gone. Okay. The second kind of dude is the one who focuses primarily on the sexual interaction that you have. Some people call those, friends with benefits, booty call situation, whatever. I call it a sex ship because it's a relationship based solely on sex. There's no real emotional ties. Sex with you is his top priority. Almost from the minute you meet, this is the guy who starts talking about sexual things. And I've had this conversation with many different women, and some of them are like, well, that's how it is these days. You too old fashioned, and that's, you just talk to them, and how else you gonna know what you like sexually? And they have all these justifications and bullshit ass reasons to accept this kind of behavior from these knuckleheads. I don't get it. I mean, it's like, why would you want some man asking you about, your sexual interests and your proclivities in the bedroom, and you don't really know anything about this dude? He hasn't taken you out yet. You haven't had these long, meaningful get-to-know-you conversations with him yet, but he knows what sex positions you like. Don't you think that something's wrong there? Okay, this is a guy who's not having no intention of committing to you, no way, shape, or form. He just out for some ass. But a lot of women don't get that. They think that he's interested and he just wants to make sure that they're sexually compatible. And if you think that, you're dumb. That's all I can tell you. You're dumb and naive. Okay, let's talk about the third thing on my list. These are men who are in love with what I call the unattainable. These are dudes who hold some woman up to you as being his ideal woman. He's still whining about his ex or ex-wife or last girlfriend, baby mama, somebody, some other woman who is just out of his reach, and he's, just really pining for her, and he's telling you all about it. You need to understand that when a man has, he's wounded like that, or even if he's not really and he's just pretending to be, it doesn't matter. The end result is the same for you. He's nobody for you to put any emotional stock into. He's the kind of guy he's going to be interested in you as long as that other woman, isn't around. But as soon as you show interest in him, he's going to feel like he's put in a cage, and like he'll never be able to then get this unattainable woman, the woman of his dreams, the woman he really wants to be with, because you're in the way. You see how that goes? So he's going to, like leave you and leave the relationship with you because you're not really what he wants. He wants someone else. Then we have the guys who establish boundaries. Now, these are very common because they don't let you come over to their house. They don't let you come to their job. They don't let you call them at home. You only have a cell phone number. You can't visit. You can't meet none of his relatives. You can't meet none of his friends. He has you in a completely different segment of his life. And a lot of women don't even understand that that's where they are. They're like, well, it's still early in our relationship. I don't want to pressure him. No, you need to pressure his ass. You be like, when am I going to meet some of your friends and your family? And see what he says. I mean, short of his friends, family living in another country or, across the country or something, there should be no reason why you date somebody for a couple of months you haven't met any of their friends or any of their families or been to their house. There's no reason for that. It's women, it's like they don't do, oh, I didn't know he was married. I didn't know he lived with somebody, and I'm like, why not? Did you ever go to his house? And the answer is no. They look at you stupid. And I'm like, what are you all doing? What are you doing? What the fuck do you be thinking? You can't be having a man over to your house all the time or running to motels and all this stuff. I mean, wouldn't that kind of make you have a red flag that something is amiss and something as he's representing isn't quite as it seems? I mean, really? You just believe that? And that's one of the things I find most frustrating about my work. It's just like people just don't get it. But you should be joining him for some kind of family event, a birthday party, a barbecue. I mean, something during the period of time when you in the early dating, because he wants to show you off. He wants to introduce you to people that are important to him because you're important to him. And if that hasn't happened, understand what time it is. This guy has established some very firm boundaries for your access to his time and to his world. He's keeping you on the outside. You need to understand what that is. Now, you have a dude and you've been dealing with him for, say, I don't know, 5-6 months or so. And you feeling like you all in love and everything. And you tell him, where's this going, and that you just want to be one-on-one with him. You want to be, you want a title. You want to be the girlfriend, whatever. And he tells you to your face that he doesn't want you, that's not what he's looking for. That's not what he's interested in. He may not even wait that long. He may tell you early on that that's not what he's looking for. That's not what he's all about. That he just likes being single. Well, you should understand that you're just a placeholder. A lot of these guys are so bold, they'll flirt with other women right in your face, stare at other women while they out on dates with you, all kind of stuff. But what they're communicating is that you're not important to them on that level. He doesn't have that kind of respect for you and the situation he got going with you, because what y'all got is a dime a dozen. And y'all need to understand that. It's just so many women just be like, well, we had a fight because, this is what he did, and, I felt disrespected. But we talked about it. You ain't supposed to talk about it. You're supposed to ditch his ass. I don't understand, what this acceptance of negative behavior and the interest in holding on to a situation that's obviously never going to be more than what it is right now, which is nothing. Okay? Let's talk about the next one. Let me see. I'm looking at my little list here. This is the guy who he will purposely criticize you, right? He complains about everything. He can't be at your house, for instance, because it's too far from his job. That's why he can't sleep over. Or, your mattress is too hard, your mattress is too soft. Um, he's always got excuses why he can't see you because, somebody's coming over, or he's got to go do this and that with his friends, or he's got this situation, he got that situation, something on. What he's really doing is putting up boundaries and telling you that he's not ready for anything serious. That's what he's telling you. Um, these guys will also uh, tell you, they'll say things that are hurtful. He'll hurt your feelings. He'll say things that are mean and kind of things that intentionally try to anger you. What is his goal? His goal is to back you up emotionally. He wants to keep you at arm's length. So by continually making you disgusted with him, then he comes back, apologizing or trying to be all cutesy wootsy or whatever. Um, you are hoping that in those good times that romantic glow will continue. But he does something that totally destroys it and makes you just hate his guts. So he has you on this emotional roller coaster, um, with up and downs and, love and hate. And, get yourself off of that. Unless you at Disney World, there's no reason to be on a ride. And there's nothing that can benefit you in a situation like that. These guys, some of them complain about just stupid stuff that you can't even change. Like, it was okay when they got with you, right? But suddenly he starts finding fault with everything that there is about you. Like, to complain about, we slept together and she didn't sleep in cute lingerie. Her bra and panties didn't match. I want a woman to watch sports with me and she didn't know anything about sports. But, her boobs were too small and I like women with big breasts. Or her ass was too small. I like women with a big ass. I mean, stuff that he knew about you from the get-go. But now all of a sudden it's a problem. Okay, again, he's trying to create a reason why he can run away, why you're not good enough, why he can't commit to you. And it's all bullshit, you know. It's crazy. It's just crazy. Another thing that they do is, right, they act a fool, right? So you dump them. You're like, I'm done with your ass. I'm going to move on. Well, he'll wait a few weeks, a few months, depending on, what he assesses as your temper. And he'll wait, and then here he comes quietly calling you, texting you, trying to pick up where you guys left off like nothing ever happened. And sometimes, women fall for it because they're like, oh, I missed you so much. I've been so lonely, whatever. That's what he's counting on. And so they often test the water, by sending you a text to see if you respond to it and how you respond. And then he'll know if he can, if there's an end for him to get some more bedroom activity before he dips out again or acts a fool that makes you dip him out again. So, you ladies need to understand that these guys who aren't going to commit to you just have certain behavior patterns, and they all create distance. They all create distance, and they all, kind of push you away. If you find yourself involved with a guy like this, your best bet is to cut your losses and just basically just leave him alone. You can't make him commit. There could be, some deep psychological wounds there, and some really, some reasons that need like some couch time, why he can't commit, why he doesn't trust anyone else emotionally. And unless you are a therapist, a licensed, clinical psychologist or something, you're not equipped to handle that kind of mental trauma and that kind of mental repair. You just can't do it. It's not for you. So that kind of guy, you just got to leave him alone. But what I wanted to do is, just kind of give you some ideas of what to look for, so that you, start looking harder at his behavior before you get yourself emotionally involved to know if this relationship even has a possibility of going anywhere. Because a man who wants to get married, he's going to let you know. He's going to be there, like I said, pretty much in your face so much that you have a hard time avoiding him because he just makes his presence felt. Um, and like my dad said, my dad was the one who told me about how he fell in love with my mom. So the first time he laid eyes on her, my cousin's husband said the same thing. My grandfathers and dozens of other men that I've talked to say that they knew, as soon as they met their wife, that they were going to marry her. They didn't know how or when, but they knew that was going to happen. And so I often believe that men are far more romantic than women give them credit for. They may not express it in a way that we understand or that we even know about, but for someone to believe that in that love at first sight and to hold it in such high regard and to follow their heart in that way, I mean, that is a person who is a deep romantic. And if you are a woman on the receiving end of that kind of devotion and that kind of attraction, you should cherish it, because it um, doesn't come along all the time, and it's something to cherish. And I talked a little bit about the avoiders, the active and the passive avoiders. I talked about the active avoider, but let me talk about the passive avoider. These are typically women. The active are typically men. The ones running away are the men. And the one choosing to be with someone who they know can never really commit to them or is an inappropriate person, so they're going to end the relationship before it gets to that level, and they already know it. Those are typically women. And, I find it interesting how that correlates to the divorce statistics in this country, where they say upwards of 70% of divorces are filed by women. Could it be that the woman is, she got into the relationship as the passive avoider, and then that's how she fulfills it, by dumping the guy at the end. These women have a history of getting with men that fail to meet their expectations, people that hurt and disappoint them, people that are emotionally unavailable, people that they have to work hard for, to try to get. I mean, these are all signs that a commitment between those two individuals is not going to work out. They're not really a viable partner. But that tends to be the behavior that women have in their commitment phobias, whatever, I don't know what you want to call it. But that's how women manifest it. They pick a man who is just not right for them, and then they run away from him after the fact. Or they set up the situation so that he runs away, but they already knew he was going to run away because they already knew that he wasn't the right kind of dude in the first place. See what I'm saying? But the bottom line is, when we're looking at commitment in relationships, because most women say commitment, they mean marriage. They want something solid and long term. They want to be, with the man, and they want to have a situation that they can depend on. What I gotta say is that you cannot force a man to marry you, no matter what you do, what you say, how convenient you make your body to him, whatever freaky sex shit you do for him, whatever. It's not going to matter. Either he's going to want to be with you or he's not. And the best thing that I think you women can do is, if you see that a man is not giving you the kind of relationship that you want, he's not interested, he tells you he's not ready, he shows you he's not ready by his behavior, whatever, accept what you see, accept what you hear, and get in the wind. Just get in the wind. I mean, there's a million zillion men out there. There's no reason for you to stay in a situation where a man either doesn't know what he wants or he knows that you're not what he wants. Either way, the relationship that you have in your mind that you think you're gonna have with this dude, it's not gonna happen. And if he knows, he'll know if he's ready to be your husband. But like I said, he may not be ready to act on it yet, depending upon his age. He may still be in school. He may, not be having his career really settled yet. But if you meet dudes, 30, 35, 40 years old, and they've got all that behind them, they're ready, and they meet the woman that they want to marry, things may move a little quickly. So, just brace yourself. He's gonna know what he wants, and he's gonna go after it with confidence and purpose and directness, and he's gonna let you know. And that's the kind of man that you want. You don't want a man that you feel like you have to chase down to get him to commit to you, because that will never work. If you chase him to try to get him, you're going to have to keep chasing him for the duration of your relationship. And that shit is exhausting. And ultimately, he'll leave you anyway when he finds a woman that he really wants to be with. And that leads me to the next video I'm going to be doing, which is on women proposing marriage to men. I may have time to do it tonight. If not, I'll do it tomorrow. But that is kind of a follow up to this topic on male commitment fears and female pressures to get men to commit. All right. My name is Deborah Cooper. Survivingdating.com is the blog where you can find my writings and advice columns, as well as Ask Heartbeat, that's ASK, heartbeat.com. I want to thank you for spending this time with me, listening to me drone on and on. And I'll be back real soon. Bye bye.